F1 Driver Career Mode Season 2, round number 6, the Spanish Grand Prix. First time coming to Spain in F1 24. It's a track that I've, to be honest, always struggled at quite a bit. I've never been that great around Spain in the previous F1 games, especially in like F1 2021. I really struggled there every time I came here. So yeah, hoping for something a bit better this time out in F1 24. Looking at R&D and no real big upgrades for really anyone. Ferrari do jump ahead of Red Bull though, so that's pretty significant. Ferrari have been showing a lot of very good form lately and are now actually on paper ahead of Red Bull, and also Williams catching up to Haas as well. Other than that, not a whole lot else really going on. We get into Q1 down to turn 1 here, and yeah, of course this is the layout that we've been using for a couple of years now, I believe, where we don't have the final chicane anymore. And yeah, I think, I can't remember 100%, but I think the last game I was a bit better at Spain. But I mean, I just know F1 2021 especially, maybe F1 22 as well, I really struggled at Spain. It was like probably my weakest track, which is strange because it is kind of one of the more basic tracks, you know. I mean, it's the track they used to do testing on. They do that for a reason, because it is a fairly box standard track with, you know, medium speed corners and stuff. But yeah, for some reason I always used to struggle here. Q1, both Saubers out, Logan Sargent in the Williams, Hulkenberg in the Haas, and Stroll in the RB. I'm really surprised by Hulkenberg, to be honest. He's really not been doing that great in quali here this season. Pretty convincingly beaten by Kevin Magnussen so far this season in qualifying. So yeah, I'm a little bit shocked to see that from Hulkenberg, because of course in real life, as we get a massive snap in Q2 here around that corner, really big snap there, just thankfully caught it. But yeah, I actually had it a couple of times throughout the session where yeah, just had a big old snap through that left-hander, but we managed to just about gather it up. Didn't lose us too much time, and actually we put in a really goddamn good lap time, P2 in the end, just over a tenth behind Verstappen, who went P1. And then out in Q2, well, it's Lewis Hamilton again. He seems to have a bit of a habit of going out in Q2 lately. The rest of the drivers not really a surprise, but yeah, Hamilton's really also, he's been another driver really struggling in qualifying this season. So onto our Q3 fast lap. As you can see, we're a little bit down through these first couple of corners on my first flying lap. Had 2 brand new sets of softs to use for this session, so this is a brand new set. We are only just up in the first sector, although it is a purple first sector. It seemed to be that Sector 1 was the sector to go for. A little bit late on the brakes, ran a little bit too wide through that corner there. And Sector 2 is where I seem to struggle. I think it's going up here. I'm not great going up there. This corner here, I struggled with at first, but you can pretty much do it flat out if you get the turn in right, which we did there, so that was good. Definitely a better second sector here. We're green. We're just over a 10, about a tenth and a half up on my original fastest time, about 2 tenths up now, trying to make pace through these final couple of corners. We're currently sitting P6 after the first flying lap. Around the final couple of corners, we're going to be about 3 tenths up, just under 3 tenths up on the lap time as we cross the line. And in the end, it's P3. I'm pretty happy with that. It's just the 2 Aston Martins ahead of us. Alonso getting pole at his home Grand Prix. He will be very happy with that, I'm sure. And Piastri, the winner of the last 2 races back-to-back, in second, less than a tenth behind his teammate. We are a little bit further adrift, 2.5 tenths back from Alonso. But we're right up there at the front. Leclerc's there in P4 as well, showing his great work. My teammate Perez down in 8th. So let's see what we can do here in Spain.
So many eventful races here in Barcelona over the years. Do you remember Max Verstappen's first win on debut for Red Bull here in 2016? 2 years before, we had the dramatic coming together of Hamilton and Rosberg going towards turn 4. There's always a treat in store as we head back to the Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya for the Spanish Grand Prix. It's an updated track at Catalunya, and we welcome the removal of the chicane in the final sector, shortening lap times and reducing the total running to 2.9 miles and 14 turns. This was actually the original setup for the track, and it hasn't been used since 2007. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Fernando Alonso lines up on pole position. And Oscar Piastri completes the front row. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Shaw, Leclerc, Russell, Verstappen, Sainz, Perez, Norris, Albon, Hamilton, Magnussen, Gasly, Tsunoda, Ocon, Stroll, Hulkenberg, Bottas, Sargent, and Zhou Guanyu. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out then. Let's see who can prevail today.
Here we go, it's time to go racing for the Spanish Grand Prix. It is an Aston Martin front row lockout. We are starting from P3, lights out, and away we go. We're starting on the medium tyres, the 2 drivers ahead on the softs. A lot of drivers starting on the softs here, but pretty much everybody around me, other than the 2 Aston Martins, on the mediums. Into turn 1, we're having a little bit of a look at Piastri, but can't quite do anything there. Those guys are probably going to go off in the lead on those soft compound tyres, but yeah, I think it was those 2 on soft, me down to I think like Verstappen or Norris, you know, towards the back end of the top 10 on the mediums, and then everybody else on the soft, apart from I think, I'm not sure if it was Zhou Guanyu or one of the Saubers at least, down the back of the grid, also on the mediums. So that is what happened there. I was tempted to maybe go into a set of softs, but it wouldn't be a brand new set, and well, actually no, I think I might have had a brand new set left, I can't quite remember. I think I did actually, but yeah, in the end, decided not to go for it because I thought our tyre wear is probably going to be a bit too much, and that's what the you know, the kind of graphic was saying with you know, the predicted tyre wear. So we've managed to so far just about keep P3 here. Already though, Piastri's about, I think, to jump over a second ahead of us, so we're not going to have DRS on those 2 Aston Martins up ahead. But those guys are going to be fighting each other pretty hard, I think. We've got George Russell behind us. He's managed to get up to P4. Leclerc's actually not had a very good start. He's also dropped behind his teammate. He's down in P6, so not the best start for Leclerc here. Now, at the front, onto lap number 3, DRS now enabled, and Piastri is going for the move, and it's an easy move into turn 1 on Fernando Alonso, so that now puts Oscar Piastri up into P1 for this Spanish Grand Prix, but I think Alonso's going to give him a good fight here. He hasn't won a race yet this season, Alonso, and of course he would love to win his home Grand Prix. Piastri's won 2 races in a row. He's trying to make it 3. Alonso, though, next lap around is coming back at his teammate into turn 1. Piastri doesn't quite concede, but they're going to be side by side up this snaking section, but Alonso will have the traction and will get back up into the lead once again. But next lap around, it just keeps on going. These guys far enough ahead of us that they don't have to worry about us, but worrying about each other with the DRS, and Piastri straight back past Alonso again, back up into the lead. So I think these guys will be tussling it out for the majority of this race. At lap 7 though, their tussling has, I guess, you know, not really worked out for him, because we've actually now caught right up to the back of him, and it's now a big old train. Piastri going back on a move for Alonso once again, and we're actually now having a look at a move on Fernando Alonso round the outside of turn 1. He's still just there on the inside. There he is. We're going to try and stick it round the outside, stay ahead of him, and we are just about going to get up ahead, go to the inside, make sure we defend the position, which we do. We're now up to P2, and the medium compound tyres are now coming into their own. The softs are starting to go off a bit by this point in the race, and now it's going to be a fairly easy move on Piastri down the main straight, and we take the lead of the Spanish Grand Prix. That is something that I don't know if that's ever happened here in Spain in any F1 game, because like I said, it's not one of my better tracks. Piastri though, after he wiggles a lot behind me, is still trying to get back past though. Round the outside he goes. I try and stick with him, but I end up in the end thinking, no, that's not going to work. And I'm actually dragged out a little bit wide here and having to worry about Alonso behind, but we managed to stay ahead of him. Now, on to lap number 12, a couple of laps later, and we're once again back behind Piastri, and with DRS, he doesn't have DRS, of course, being out in the lead, and we get back past him again. So now we're just waiting for him to come into the pits. Nico Hulkenberg, like I said, did not have a good qualifying, and it's not going to be a good race for him either, as he has a mechanical problem. No smoke out the back of the car, so it might be a gearbox issue or something, but maybe a battery issue, I don't know. Hulkenberg is out of this race in the Haas. Now, lap number 15, we're into the pits. Alonso and Piastri came into the pits quite a bit earlier, But we are now in. Those guys, I believe, have gone onto medium. So I think they're trying to do a one-stop, soft to medium. We're going on to hards, but it's a slow pit stop again. What is going on here at McLaren? We almost have a slow pit stop every race. There's only been like 1 or 2 races so far this season that we've actually had a good pit stop. It's a 4.6 second stop, slow on the front right. And now we've dropped behind Leclerc, we've dropped behind Russell, and Hamilton manages to get past as well and is now fighting with Leclerc and gets past Leclerc. So Hamilton, I believe, on the different strategy, starting on the softs, going onto the mediums, he's actually managed to get up the order after starting in P11 after that poor qualifying, and now he's having to go at Carlos Sainz. He's doing a very good job, currently up in P3. Hamilton goes down the inside and is now up to P3 himself, so from P11 to P3 for Hamilton. Although he is trying this one-stop soft to medium, I reckon by the end of the race his tyres are going to be pretty shot, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. And, well, Sainz manages to stay within DRS of Hamilton, and this isn't going to help him at all because Sainz will dive up the inside into turn 1. Hamilton trying to defend it there, now around the outside. Sainz has the better inside line and will take P3 back again. So I think it's going to be a big old scrap for the last position on the podium. Just as that was happening, there was another Mercedes and Ferrari battle. This one was Leclerc on Russell, trying to get past him. Round the outside, once again, pretty much the same move that Hamilton did on Sainz, or Sainz did on Hamilton that same lap. Leclerc also gets past Russell. Piastri and Alonso by this point have absolutely shot off in the lead. We might see them again if their mediums start to wear out, but at the moment they are completely long gone. There's a lot of cars up ahead of us. We're going to try and move on Perez because we've actually ended up behind Perez with that whole pit stop problem. We've gone from, what, P2 to P8. So we've now got the 2 Red Bulls behind us, and we've got our teammate of Sergio Perez, the car ahead. And this big train from Sainz backwards, P3 all the way to P10, we're trying to go for a move on Perez once again, round the outside of turn 1, getting our elbows out and getting past our teammate. That was a move that I needed to do quickly. Russell is the next car up ahead now, so we're going to try and get past him too, make him go defensive to the inside. We're going to take to the outside, maybe not quite the room because there's so many cars all here and everybody has DRS. We're side by side with George Russell, but in the end have to concede the position. Can't quite stay ahead of him at that point. Actually, once again, running a little bit wide in the dirty air. Once again, lap 29 now, still trying to get past George Russell. But it's so difficult when he also has DRS. Make him go as far to the inside as he can. Once again, we're going to be side by side into turn 1. Side by side again through turn 2. They're not quite able to shake him. He's still there on the inside. We're going to try and hang it round the outside of George Russell. We're still side by side heading into the next corner later on the brakes. Can we get the position? He's still there on the inside. We still haven't quite managed to get past. Late braking into this corner, a bit too late, and he does the switchback, gets up on our inside heading down the hill to then the uphill little area, and we have to just let him go there. I cannot go side by side through there. We let him go so that we'll hopefully pick up the DRS and maybe go for a move down here into the next braking zone. And sure enough, he doesn't have the DRS. He is not deploying battery, I don't think. It's a pretty easy, quick move around the outside, and we are now ahead of George Russell. But the problem is, with all that fighting, we've now lost out to Leclerc and Hamilton up ahead. We don't have DRS on those guys, so it means that Russell's just going to come straight back at us. And Perez is coming for a fight too. Russell goes past us. We're now side by side with Perez, and we're just going to fairly, but also quite aggressively shove him out to stay ahead. We do not want to get stuck behind our teammate again, because we're definitely quicker than him. Leclerc then gets past Hamilton. Hamilton is now starting to suffer with those medium tyres. The tyre wear is definitely kicking in. We have to go for a move on Russell once again, but hopefully this time it'll be a bit easier because he doesn't have DRS from the cars ahead. Here we go once again round the outside. We get the move done past him before turn 1, and that puts us back up into P6. On the final lap, the 2 Ferraris now coming together, and it's Leclerc past Sainz. So even though Sainz was doing a great job hanging onto that podium the whole race, Leclerc came through, took that P3 right at the end. Maybe Ferrari told him to do that because of the championship. I don't really know. Final lap here, we have Hamilton up ahead. We're having a look into turn 1, but we're not quite close enough to make a move on Hamilton at that point. And as we head down the final DRS zone, we're right up behind Hamilton. We are a lot quicker than him. His tyres are completely shot. That one stop, I mean, I guess it worked for him. He's going to finish P5 here as Oscar Piastri crosses the line to win his 3rd race in a row. 3 on the bounce for Oscar Piastri. Hamilton will cross the line 5th. We're going to come home 6th. So it's not the best race for us. We have fallen back quite considerably from where we started. That pit stop definitely screwed us over. Without that, we could have maybe won the race. I don't know how we would have fared with the Aston Martins if we would have been able to keep with them. But it's P6 in the end. Not the best end, but a fun race for sure.
And it's the checkered flag for your Grand Prix race winner, Oscar Piastri.
Wow, that's 3 wins in a row. They really are on a roll now and really building great momentum. They're clearly one to look out for.
The Aston Martin team will be very happy with today's performance. And of course, the final results. Another display of excellent driving and excellent teamwork. And a well-deserved first place finish.
Oscar Piastri is really getting to be quite the racer here in Season 2 of this career mode. He wins his 3rd race in a row. That is 3 races in a row for Oscar Piastri this season. Alonso comes home for, I believe, his first podium of the season. He's had a bit of a quiet start of the season. He might have actually had one more podium somewhere else, I can't remember, but he's come home in P2, which he'll be happy about, but he'll be disappointed that he couldn't beat his teammate here in Spain. And Charles Leclerc is ever consistent there in P3. He was, of course, leading the championship going into this race. Is that still the case? We'll have to wait and see. Yes, it's P6 for me, down from starting in P3. Very unfortunate. I think we could have finished at least P3. Was it not for the pit stop issue? Maybe even better than that, but in the end, it just didn't really quite work out for us there. So it's P6, P8 for our teammate. And in the championship, Oscar Piastri now leads the Drivers' Championship. He has overtaken Charles Leclerc, 113 points to 108 points, just 5 points splitting the top 2. We are then 32 points behind Piastri in 3rd place, so we are actually quite a bit further behind those guys now, but it's still definitely there. We're not even halfway through the season yet, and Alonso there now in P4. And in the Constructors' Championship, Aston Martin in the lead, 186 points. Then it's Ferrari with 159 and McLaren with 137. Red Bull now only 2 points ahead of Mercedes after Red Bull had a fairly poor race, to be honest. I think they were like 9th and 10th or something, and Mercedes a little further up the order. But anyway, that's going to be it for this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed, please go ahead, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.